So welcome everyone. Thank you a lot for watching the recording and also for joining, since today is the very first time when we are more than me, because Livia also joined me. She's the one I'm doing Goalcrushers Club together with. And we gathered together to do a quick review of what actually happened at Goalcrushers Club in March. And we are going to follow the very same structure that we used in the past. In the first couple of minutes of today's session, we are going to check out how the app looked like 1 month ago, so in February. Then we will look into what has changed since then. And I will do a quick demo or a short demo on most of the features that we have been working on. I'm saying most because those that are right now not available to our beta testers will not be even mentioned. But anything that the beta testers, even if it is being feature toggled, can access right now, we will be showing so that you can also play around with it, test it for yourself, provide feedback, ask your questions, or share your confusions. And there will be a slight difference compared to the previous sessions in terms of, since it's not just me being present, I will be trying to actively gather feedback from Livia about the features that I'm showing. And we will be also trying to brainstorm a little bit together throughout this session so that we can figure out how best to move forward in April when it comes down to developments, to see what needs some tweaking still. So let's get started. And like I said, the very first thing is going to be a February review. So what we were discussing here is that the app got a new layout. The very first iteration of the so-called Go card appeared. This is the thing that you are seeing here on the left side, as well as we have a new navigation menu as opposed to having it up in the top. And with that also we got a new page structure. Now, the next important and interesting thing was somewhere around 11:50. Yeah, that is good enough. Where I was demonstrating that we were working heavily on real-time synchronization. I did a quick demo on proving that if you create now a new weekly goal, then in your swim body views that immediately should show up. So that was an other demo, as well as I tried to do some demos around the comments and notifications. So that was a second major big step, real-time communication between the clients. And then there was a small mention around profile picture upload, and a lot of mobile optimizations were being mentioned, and basically the rest of the video was primarily around those ones. Now okay, so performance was primarily a big thing. Then we had a bunch of issues around new Flutter releases. The Google sign-in button stopped working on Firefox. Then we managed to fix it back in. And then what we are going to talk about today is visions and swim body pages. So 2 new pages will be mentioned, as well as yes, a bunch of bug fixes we did. There was a slight change in terms of the loading screen. We added a new feature called subscriptions, which is right now feature toggled. So not everyone, well, sees it, or by default the beta testers don't see it, but you can enable it. I will just show it in a second how. As well as the other major milestone was that we started experimenting with a rework of the onboarding screen. The details will come later. This is also something that is now feature toggled. So let's look into what actually changed and how the app looks like right now. If you are opening the application by default today, then you saw a short loading animation. It's not ours, it's a free GIF picture right now. This is something that we will further tweak, but just wanted to run an experiment on how we can make it a little bit more friendlier as opposed to the ugly previous non-existing loading screen. Now, if you look in, first thing first, right now we have a stable Google login button, so that's actually great, and I'm super happy that we managed to pull that one off. It was not an easy task to achieve, but if you log back in, then the first thing that you are noticing is that the colors are now slightly different. And yeah, what I'm just really curious about is, if you're just looking at it right now, what do you think, Livia? How do you like it? Where do you see some tweak points still, if there are any?
I think it got significantly better comparing to what we started with. I really like this type of double layered, so like the page cut in half, and you can see the weekly goals as well as the daily goals at the same time. I think that provides a lot of clarity. And also rescheduling is so much easier that way. I think it got significantly smoother.
Okay, thank you a lot. Good to hear. Any further tweaks that you see? You mentioned the icons, for example.
Yeah, so I think where we still have ways to go is the color scheme of the app, because right now I'm not 100% on the current color scheme, giving the kind of like warm and non-judgmental and very supportive, but also strict and structured feeling that we were going for, I think, with this app at the moment. So hopefully this is going to get resolved before we can put out the MVP. But I think for now the wireframe is going in the right direction, and colors will change.
Yeah.
I also had, I think, a comment on calling the calendar view an inbox, because I think that's conflicting. But hopefully that was changed already, right?
Yeah, I fixed it a couple of days ago. So right now that should be fine. Yeah, I definitely agree that the colors still need some tweaking. What I definitely don't like right now about them is the top right corner. This to me is just too pale. But the original color scheme, or the color pair that we worked with, looks really, really ugly, or to my eye they were too strong. So I went with a little bit paler color.
It was very vibrant against sort of a muted blue. It was too vibrant. You couldn't even see the outline of the icons well, I think.
Yes. So now I ended up with just going with this one, so that at least I can look at the application, but it definitely needs some tweaks moving on. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the chat and thanks for the input. I definitely agree that This still needs some tweaks. Good. So let's look into what has changed apart from the color, because this was obvious from the first moment we looked, we opened the application. So one thing that you notice, or you may notice, is that we have now a buddies view as a standalone view here as well, or page in itself. And if you open this one up, this follows slightly the original structure that we had, but right now it's not flowing all over the place. We put it into a nice central column in this 3-column layout, and we finally managed to replace the ugly old school way of representation of the body goals, and now we are also using the goal cards here. Now obviously you are not able to schedule anything here. You are not going to be able to clone a goal of a body. You are not going to do any kind of manipulation on there, and apart from commenting or looking into what kind of steps they have. Yes. Here I just found a bug, because I definitely don't want to be able to add a new step to a goal. Let me check if it indeed went through, because then, okay, at least it is not going through, but still this is something to be fixed. And we have here the tab layout that you get used to from the original system. Yep. What I'm curious about on this page is, first, how do you see it evolving further? If you have any thoughts on this front, Livia.
Evolving further, I would say that the swim buddy view is at a place where we could definitely improve a little bit about the comments parts, but this necessarily like on the view itself. I really like the fact that you can scroll between your swim buddies, and that there is the clutter just went away, because mine was very cluttered when all the goals were just on top of each other. And I think it, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might not remember well, but I think it wasn't even sorted by swim buddy. They were just like there on top of each other, and that made it very hard for me to process those. But this view definitely clears that up, so I really like that I can see which goal belongs to whom, and the goal structure for my swim buddies. And I think vice versa is also really good. Like, I feel better knowing that my swim buddies see my structure, so they have more context on what I'm working towards for the moment. And I think that leads to better conversations about each other's progress and each other's goals. And where do I see it evolving? I would say that probably we should improve a little bit about the comments, and maybe like counting the comments in real time, and you can only just get the notification for new comments rather than having sort of a counter of lines in the comment section. But other than that, and other than the fact that it's a it's like I would say it's a minor thing at the moment. I am very happy with this view.
Yeah, I think you also mentioned a couple of days ago indeed the comments, and that right now the color of this one, or the numbers themselves to you, are signaling that you have 7 new comments or 5 new comments instead of the total number, which right now it actually shows. That was also mentioned there, and also the notification is a great idea.
So I would say yes. Maybe
Comment
it's just my
counters.
thinking, but whenever I'm thinking of like Facebook Messenger, even my email, Outlook, or Teams, when I have like a little, brightly colored number on the comment icon or the the message icon, it's in my brain that signals that I have this many new information behind that icon.
Gotcha. Okay, now this makes a lot of sense, and this was actually something that I would have never figured. But yes, it's just me not having the consciousness to realize that. Yeah, thank you. This is something that I think we can fix really easily. Okay, anything else regarding this page?
No, as I said, I think this is a good place for the time being, especially knowing that there won't be like unlimited supply of swim buddies, I guess. So probably like the average user will deal with maybe 2 or 3 swim buddies at a time, and I think that provides quite a good, uh, you know, easily understandable structure to
Sure.
work with.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you a lot. Um, could I have another page to show? And this is the visions view. So there was quite some inner battle or inner debate within me on whether this is actually needed or not. But since I got feedback from you, I got feedback from András, and I think also Piotr mentioned it at one point that right now it's very difficult to see the visions. I went with creating a visions view, and the way it works right now is that you have the visions of yours on the left. You can switch tabs right here, and on the right side you now first see the vision itself. This is important because this way you can get rid of one if you would like to. Also you can add some child goals to it, and since yesterday you can also create new visions. This was not the case in the past couple of weeks since the feature is out there, but right now you can create a new vision and it immediately goes there, and then you can say hello, and then it shows up on the left side. Also, another thing that was being tweaked here is that if I delete it, then it removes itself from here, and then it jumps to the very last one, so it does not end up not knowing which vision to show. And right now this is how it looks like. There is one clear improvement point that I can think of. If you look at the order here, the items right now are not following any order. They are, I think, ordered by ID instead of their type, which may or may not be an issue. And then now here maybe you can also loop in the view, because with the goal card being able to show you what belongs to what or what the hierarchy is, I'm not sure if this is actually an issue right now. But this is definitely something that was behaving differently in the old system. What do you think?
I agree.
So then that means, should we leave it like this right now and it's okay?
I would say yes.
Okay, and then this way what the user gets is sorted by time, basically. So the newer the item, the more down it will be. I think.
Well, yeah, I think in terms of structure and how you go by step, this is a good one. Like reversing could be like that's a structure as well, or maybe we could like let people sort. Or asking new as to orders to accommodate to who like some people like to view it this way and others the other way. For me specifically, I like seeing my older inputs or the older goals first, because if things slip my mind, then I'm immediately confronted with those, and it doesn't require any action on my part to actually scroll down and see what I have forgotten. But that could be, like vice versa for someone else. So they may prefer to see the latest editions rather than the old ones.
Gotcha. Now, this sorting is, I think, actually a great idea. So with that, we would give them the power to figure out how they would like to go about it, and it is probably like super small in terms of effort. Yeah, I took a note.
Great.
And personally, I don't really mind because I try to keep these ones typically quite low. Well, but I'm using the test system, not the live one. Maybe that could be an improvement point on my end as well. Okay, anyways, no, thanks. This was a great insight. Okay. So these were the pages part. On these ones, I don't actually have anything else. But there are two more things I would like to show. The first thing is, and for this I think I'm going to delete this one because I don't need it. In the past couple of days, we quite heavily worked on reworking actually this onboarding part. And what we did not really like about the onboarding is that it's a tell, and we wanted to do something that is more show and less tell, and this is what we have come up with. And this is available for all the beta testers, but right now it's not by default enabled because a big chunk of backend functionality does not actually exist to support this. So it cannot remember if you already went through the onboarding process, which steps you checked out already, which steps did you not. You are not able to opt out. So a bunch of things does not work there. And then therefore I just hidden it here. Let's put it 1. And if you are opening up the application like this, then it starts with a tutorial right now. And it's primarily just a tech demo on what seems to be possible at the current point. By clicking on some steps, you can move to the next one. On some steps, on the other hand, you actually have to perform some real action on the system. Right now, for example, it explains what the add button does. Of course, this is not how the real onboarding will look like, but this is also something that you can already start experimenting with. You have to click on the button, then it talks a little bit about the available goal types and the pages, and then it goes through each of the goal types step by step. And afterwards, it will ask you to create your very first weekly goal. Then it looks at that goal, and then asks you to fill it up or fill it out. I think this actually, just in itself, this very step is very helpful because from the past experiences, many of our beta testers did not figure out that this is actually a text field, and I don't blame them. But I think by holding their hand, this could be a way to go. And if I click on, I cannot click anywhere else, but if I click on this one, then here, I see already that, okay, this was a text field. And this is what it knows right now. It's not a full-fledged feature at the current point. On the other hand, I personally see a big opportunity and a big potential in this new way of holding people's hands when they are first encountering or first getting in touch with the application. Not sure if you have, or what are your thoughts on this approach versus the old one?
Well, the old one I think had like a very big flow that was when you first opened it up, you only saw a picture, and it required you to try and scroll
Ah, yeah.
that there are written in instructions, right?
Hmm.
So and that may be dependent on the monitor that you're using, but I still think that's not necessarily great user experience. Um, so I think that change is pretty good. That now you can see everything right away. And I'm happy with that. But I think this is the part where we really need to rely on someone else's opinion because we can try and pretend that we don't know what's going on, but it never is the same as actually someone doing this for the first time. So obviously you and I have spent the quite quite a few months on this and understanding it and refining it. And I think if someone is coming to it with a completely like virgin palette and doesn't have the background knowledge that we do, might have very different approach to it.
Maybe what we can
So
do is we could pull in a new beta tester just for the onboarding sake and
yes, or
do a
we can
first
even
walkthrough. Mhm.
yeah, we can even just ask, I don't know, our mothers and our spouses or friends we will see during Easter, just to go through and tell us whether they think that this is clear or not.
Then
It
I.
doesn't even have to become like a regular user. It's just in usability testing in my day job. We always do that, even with user manuals. You just give it to someone who has nothing to do with the product itself and ask them to try and get the setup done solely relying on the owner's manual. And this is how you see whether or not it's explanatory enough, or you can find like big gaps that way. So I think it could be a good idea for us to do it.
And then for that, we would just need to finalize the first flow and then give it out to someone. And I think that
Exactly.
this, at least from my perspective, onboarding is probably one of the last remaining aspects that has to be in place in order for people to actually be able to start using it live. I mean, general availability. Um, and then therefore this I think could be a major focal point for the next month to have this one done and tested and feedback tested.
Yes, I
Okay,
would agree.
cool. No, thank you a lot. Yeah, I also agree on this one actually. This is something that we will never be able to figure out on our own. Cool. Thank you a lot. There is one last topic I wanted to talk about. This is available to our beta testers again, but it's also hidden behind a flag. And this is the account flag. If you're just opening up your profile in the top right corner right now, you don't have a button that you could have. And this is actually called the account page or the account button. And we started working out a way on how to be able to have more premium account tiers, if you like, and integrated our system into Stripe in the past couple of days or weeks. Now, nor the numbers or the actual text or anything is not full-fledged right now, so feel free to ignore that one. But what we were just curious about is what is it that Stripe provides us. So right now I opened the account page. You see that my current subscription is free. And if I hit, let's say, the basic €5 subscription, then it takes me to a Stripe checkout page. Here I have a VAT applied to it already. I can give it a email address. Yeah, this email address I already used. So if I say now continue, it will take me to an account page of Stripe where I can modify, delete my current subscription. So I'm not going to use this email address. I just realized I have another one. I provide my bank account or a credit card number, and I tell that it will be expire in 2026, and I give it a CVC. Okay, and I have a random card holder name. You are free to experiment. The whole system runs in test mode, so it will not actually charge anything. But you can already use it. And then once I feel like I finished everything, by the way, if you are a business, then you can also give your wet identifier in, so even that one works, and everything comes from Stripe by default. It's really crazy how much they provide on this front. And so now I paid there, it gets back to the application. I get a sign up notification up there, and I should have received here a notification as well, which looks like this. And basically that is it. And the only way to tell if there is any difference in terms of having a free user or a premium user is if you click here, you should have seen basic monthly membership, and for some reason this does not work right now. This of course I'm not going to debug, but then first priority will be to have it fixed. Probably one of the last backend releases did not deploy properly. But so this is the full flow, and once we feel safe enough to start rolling it out, first it will just appear here, and of course for you beta testers you don't have to worry about it at this point, but at one point we will be trying to start bringing in different layers or different account tiers to the application. Yep, any thoughts on this one, Livia, from your perspective?
I don't have anything to add here.
Okay, cool. Guys, this was everything that we had for this month. What we assume is going to happen in April is development will slow down slightly because I will be traveling. We will be still having quite some developments, especially around the onboarding, subscriptions, flows. But also quite some focus will be put on actual community building. Thank you a lot for joining. Thank you a lot for listening in, and have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye, and thanks for joining.